This video is sponsored by SealVax. SealVax is the ultimate food saving solution. It uses high quality borosilicate material and an innovative vacuum sealing technology. SealVax offers glass vacuum jars of different sizes and Galihi vacuum boxes. These are versatile containers that can be used to store different types of food. With SealVax, you are saying goodbye to single use of plastic and greatly contributing to cleaner environment. Not only that, they are designed to make storage beautiful and keep your food fresh longer. They can be stacked in the fridge to save space and can be microwaved. Summer is coming and SealVax glass vacuum jars are perfect for keeping your salad fresh, overnight oats, soup, etc. To make preparation even easier when you are busy living life. Need a refuel with healthier and fresh food? SealVax got you covered. SealVax offers you, the viewers of Welcome to Taiwan, a special 20% discount from April 13th to May 13th. So please go click on the exclusive link in the description below to get your 20% discount. Order now and get $300 NT buyback coupon.
My name is Adam Massengale. I'm originally from the United States, from the state of Georgia in the southeast. I've been in Taiwan for about 10 years. First 7 years of that, I was an English teacher. The last 3 years now have been running my own business. So a couple years ago, I decided to start a business doing like outdoor apparel and equipment called Hik Rite. I've been running that company for 3 years now. It keeps me pretty busy. we produce like outdoor apparel and equipment. So clothing, right now we have merino wool underwear, we have hiking pants, a couple different hiking shirts, some base layer, mid layer products, and we have a sleeping bag. And we're now currently in the process of running doing a crowdfunding on Zutzuck now for like a small packable hiking backpack.
So what's your niche? Most of your customers, are they Taiwanese or foreigners? What market are you trying to penetrate?
The majority of the customers are Taiwanese. You would think as a foreigner that I'd have a much more connections in the foreign department, but really I don't. The bulk of our marketing and everything that we do, the content that we create is all Chinese focused, right? So it's all focused at Chinese language speakers. So this is an area I want to improve, obviously. We're trying to work on better ways of reaching the foreign market here, but predominantly it's Taiwanese outdoor enthusiasts who are our customers.
Products that you guys made are all made in Taiwan or they're made in foreign countries?
So January of 2023, I decided that I didn't want to deal with importing products or having products made in other countries anymore. I wanted to do everything here in Taiwan for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I wanted, just as a Taiwanese business, I wanted to support other small Taiwanese businesses and the Taiwanese economy, and the best way to do that is to just manufacture everything here. We have our whole product chain is here, from the fabric to the production to the selling, everything is done here. And then there's a lot of other reasons, you know, the first couple of products we had made in China, you know, and it took a long time to find good quality products. And we eventually did find good quality products, but there's still a lot of issues around the way workers are treated and whether or not these factories are telling you the truth about how things are being produced. And so we just figured, you know, we can not only cut all that stuff out and know exactly what we're getting here in Taiwan, but also support the local economy here.
What inspires you to start this company, this particular kind of company? What inspires you to do that?
Well, I always had this idea that I wanted to work for myself. And so I basically, after teaching for 5 years, I took a year off and did some traveling. I spent a lot of time by myself, kind of thinking about, all right, this is something that you want to do. How are you going to start taking like some action to make it happen? And you know, living in Taiwan, when I first came here, I wasn't really much of a hiker. Like I really liked the outdoors, but I didn't really like, I only hiked mountains because I like to take pictures. And then living in Taiwan, being in the mountains, I really learned an appreciation and a love for the mountains here, and the challenge that they bring. And so when I decided I wanted to start a company, I decided like, well, this is the thing that I'm passionate about, I know a lot about. So I decided that that would be my first avenue at attempting to run a company, would be in something that I appreciated, like hiking in the outdoors. When I talked to, I'm a member of like some entrepreneur groups and stuff, and when I told them I wanted to start like an outdoor brand, and you know, they were just like, they thought I was crazy. Like, why would you want to do that? There's so much competition. You know, everywhere is software based. Now you should do something that's software or things like that, but I don't like that stuff. So You know, it is quite challenging, but you just have to find the niche that someone's not really focusing on. And for us, what we found, there wasn't a lot of competition. Not a lot of people were focused on it, you know, is ultralight outdoor equipment that's made here in Taiwan. One of the challenges, I think, is that there's a lot of people who kind of feel like products made overseas are better, right? There's this kind of concept like, oh, if you buy it from Japan or Germany or America, the quality's better and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that all of those materials, they all come from Taiwan. Like over 90%, almost 90% of the world's functional like outdoor fabric is made here in Taiwan. So the truth is, like, the masters, the experts of this stuff, they're here. People just haven't been really tapping into that resource, and that's kind of the avenue that we decided to take.
Let's go back a little bit. What's the main reason why you choose to come to Taiwan?
I actually had some friends who lived here. They came here to teach for a year, and I was not particularly happy with the job I was doing in the U.S. So I decided, after a year of them trying to convince me, I finally came out. You know, like most, you talk to a lot of foreigners, they come out, had intentions on doing 1 year, just come out, hang out with my friends, teach English for a year, ended up really liking it, decided to stay for a second year. In that second year, I met my now wife, and then Taiwan became home. The work that you do here in Taiwan, your pay that you get, right, goes just way further. Everything in the U.S. is so expensive. All your basic costs of living are so expensive that, you know, especially as a teacher in the U.S., which is what I would be, you know, you'd be living pretty tightly in the U.S., whereas I live real comfortably here as a teacher. So, you know, that's the really big difference to me.
Have you been to other Asian countries?
First, East Asia, I've traveled to Japan a little bit. I've been all through Southeast Asia. There's still a few I got to check off, but I've been to a lot of them.
So what stands out most about Taiwan compared to these other Asian countries?
I think Taiwan is like it's kind of like in a perfect like central location between something that like the environment that you would find in Southeast Asia and East Asia, right? It's very modern, it's very clean. They have everything that you want. The public transportation is amazing, but it still has like a bit of a wild side to it, especially if you get out of Taipei, right? Like you head south, you know, you've got mountains and rivers and all this adventure stuff that you can do that, you know, typically people would assume of Southeast Asia, right? But you got all that stuff here in Taiwan. So I think it's a really good blend of like all the best parts of Asia.
How is it like as a foreigner running a business here in Taiwan?
Starting the business was very difficult. Very quickly I realized, like, obviously, like, this is something I can't do on my own, right? So you have to go out and find people. You have to get, you know, accountants and lawyers to help you do all the business registration and get all that stuff situated, because the initial process is immensely complicated, especially when you start, after you make the company, you have to have like a bank account, all these other kind of things to get the company to be legal. That connecting of company to bank accounts, especially as a foreigner, is extremely complicated. And like a lot of times the people at the bank didn't know what to do because, you know, obviously they don't deal with a whole lot of foreigners starting businesses. So, and then me coming from the US made it even more challenging because the US has its own difficulties involved with all that kind of thing. So the startup process was really complicated and really difficult. Now that all that's done, running the business and maintaining it it's you know, it's challenging as any business is, but it's the day-to-day operations of the business aren't any more difficult here as a foreigner. Language is always a bit of a challenge, right? Obviously, running a business, you have to deal customer service and, you know, marketing and all of these things are, you know, predominantly done in, you know, Mandarin, which is obviously my second language. So that's probably the most challenging part.
So being here for 10 years, I guess you can speak Chinese.
Not near as good as I should be able to. I can speak enough to do all the necessary things, you know, like in terms of life. I can order my food, I can have small talk with people, I can give directions. When I started a business, I had a huge gap in my language, right? Because I knew no business terminology in Chinese whatsoever. So the last few years I've been trying to learn that and study that. If you want to talk about the outdoors and mountains and hiking, I can talk really well about that because that's where most of my practice comes.
So his Instagram, Facebook, and the website will be in the description below. You can go check it out. All right, during your stay here, what are some of the challenges major challenges that you've overcome or yet to overcome?
I think the two major challenges for me, one is the obvious one that every foreigner I'm sure probably tells you is that, you know, the Chinese language is difficult. And the more you learn, you know, like the very basics, like the first couple things you learn, like you can take one little course, you can get the basics, and and that's not too hard. But when you really, you know, when you really want to start communicating with people and really talk about like meaningful conversations, the language gets really difficult because of the tones and the cultural connections and all these other kind of things. So that becomes really challenging. And then the other one is really kind of just missing your family, right? There's not a lot of things I miss from back in the States. You know, I think in every measurable way my life is better here, but all the people I love, all my family and my closest friends, they're all there. And there's a long way away. One of the driving factors to want to start a business and work for myself was I wanted more flexibility to be able to go home and visit my family. Unfortunately here, most of the schools, when you're working in education here, most of the schools don't have the major US holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like we don't have those off here. So the time when you're really missing your family, you can't go and visit with them. And so that was one of the real like motivating factors to start my business was, you know, if you work for yourself, then vacation can be taken when it's needed. You know, I can work through the summer and, you know, go home and visit family for Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. If you are to change anything in Taiwan, what would it be?
I think it's really easy from like a foreign perspective to say, look, I would change this thing. You know, I don't like this thing, but there's so many things you don't understand for the reasons why things are. I think the biggest thing to me, I think that if I could just say I had to pick one thing, it would be like more sidewalks that didn't have scooters parked all in them. I drive a scooter, so I love the fact that I can park my scooter almost anywhere. But as a pedestrian, you know, it's a nightmare trying to, like, I joke with people and I say the most difficult thing in Taiwan sometimes is just to walk down the sidewalk, especially in Taipei. Yeah. But again, you know, there's reasons for all that stuff. So you know, and as most things go, like I love Taiwan. I don't really want to mess with much of it.
What advice would you give to anyone who wishes to come to Taiwan?
I think most people who are willing to come to Taiwan are already probably pretty open-minded, because this is not like Taiwan's not like a major place that people go and think they're going to go like live abroad, right? Usually it's most people who I know who know of Taiwan, it's because of they're interested in teaching English abroad, and Taiwan is always rated as one of the best places to do that. But you know, the best thing you can tell anybody, you know, is come with an open mind and like I said, immediately try to learn a little bit of Chinese. I think it's easy when you come to Taipei, especially to say, oh, I don't need to learn any Chinese because everything's in English. There's English versions of everything. Most people in Taipei are willing to speak a little bit of English to you, so it's real easy to get caught in the trap that I don't need to speak any Chinese. But if you can, things just, you know, you really get to kind of start to absorb Taiwan for what it really is.
Have you had any culture shock when you arrived here?
I think since I moved straight into Taipei when I came here, I think originally the biggest shock I found was that there wasn't a culture shock, because I didn't expect like Taipei to be such an international city, right? You know, there were very few things that I couldn't find that I really wanted, and so I think that was the really big thing to me was on the get-go there wasn't much culture shock because it just felt like a big international city. You know, and then as I learned more and more about Taiwan, I wouldn't say there was any shock to it, more like appreciation, I think, for a different way of thinking about a lot of the things, even though sometimes that way of thinking might be completely the opposite of what I would go for. You know, there's almost like there's a beauty to the culture wrapped up around that thought process.
Do you have anything else to tell Taiwanese people?
Yeah, just keep going, right? You guys are you've knocked it out of the park. You have an amazing country. You have a beautiful culture and beautiful people. You're friendly. You're welcoming. You know, and I've traveled to like almost like over 40-something different countries I've been to in my life, and you know, to me, like I think before Taiwan, I would always say Central America was like some of the most welcoming people that I ever met until I came to Taiwan. And then, you know, there's just no group of people anywhere that I've met that are more friendly and more welcoming to foreigners than Taiwan has been. I don't know that there's a lot of places. I've never lived in any other place for this long a period of time, but I can't imagine there's anywhere else in the world that would be this easy to actually like put down your own roots. You know, it's all your basic life necessities are affordable. If you're, you know, finding work as an English teacher or something is really easy to do if you come from a native English-speaking country. And, you know, the money that you make is going to go a long way. Anything you can't figure out, you know, there's always a person nearby who's willing to help you to figure it out. And so I think, you know, like I said earlier, I think in every measurable factor, my life is better here, which is why I've stayed. If you like the outdoors, you love the mountains, check out our links. Go see if we have a product that you might like. Feel free to send us a message. I'm happy to chat with you, answer questions, or just generally talk about the outdoors with you in any way that I can.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, and hope you continue to prosper here in Taiwan.
All right, thanks. Thanks everybody for listening.
感谢你们的支持，但是还有很多人还没订阅，请不要忘记订阅、按赞、开启小铃铛，你们的支持是我们的动力，谢谢大家。